Hey everyone, thought I'd give you all an update on the little Cubic Mini here. I've done some experimenting with it, and I've used it a good bit, and I think I've kind of figured out how I like to run it. There's a secondary combustion option here, and then there's your regular draft. The draft, if you can see down there, it looks like it's not open all the way. It's closed, and that's open, but it looks like it's not sliding all the way back. That's because ashes build up down in here, and you have to get down in there and get all those ashes out, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but you know, it's not that big of a deal. The secondary combustion, once it heats up, it doesn't, of course, there's the radio, it won't work. It expands and it pinches in there or something. And what that is, there's a little door back there. I don't know if you can see it in there. It opens that little door, and it lets air come up from the back, and then the air is released inside the combustion chamber up top, which if you can see through that dirty glass, you might be able to see the flames swirling around there. Maybe not. Oh, anyway, just take my word for it. The glass is kind of weird. It gets dirty, and then it gets clean, and then it gets dirty, and then it gets clean. And I haven't, cleaned it. I do sometimes, I guess, but it's been a while since I've done that. I just kind of let it do its thing. I quit using the secondary combustion for about a week. I noticed that I was getting a lot of unburned logs in there, or sticks, or whatever. And they were just charcoaling up. It was just becoming charred. So I just quit doing that. I quit using the secondary combustion, and I was only using just the main draft here. And I was getting a complete burn. So when I would clean it out, it was just all ashes. But it was not as hot. And I put this little magnet thing on here. You can see we're a little over 400 degrees right there. This is actually supposed to go up on the flue, on the chimney, but that's double wall pipe, and the fan is right there, and you can see it just goes out right there. So I'm sure the fan would affect this. And it's not supposed to work on double wall pipe anyway. It's supposed to be on single wall. But yeah, we're a little over 400 degrees, maybe 410 or 15 or something like that Fahrenheit, which is probably the warmest I've had it for a long time. I did just do a clean out on it, and well, you can see the glass is actually starting to clean up now. Sorry about the glare right here, and you can see my hand moving. I don't have curtains out here, it's a wood shop. Well, I'm using this kind of wood here. This is ash. A few years ago we had that emerald ash borer come through, and it killed a lot of ash, so there's a lot of dead saplings and trees out there. So to light the fire, I've been kind of cheating. I've been using these little fire starters. They're like pulp from paper or cardboard or something, and they got some kind of lighter fluid in there, and you know, they work real good. It is kind of tough getting it to light, just because everything is so small. I mean, you get your tinder in there and you get everything ready, and when you go to light it, if you bump something, I mean, everything collapses. It's just so tall, or so small in there, I mean, that getting everything just right to light up, it's just so much easier to throw one of these guys in there and let it go. Okay, so it's been just a few minutes, and you can see how the glass is, the darkness and the dirt on it is changed. And that has to do with the wood shifting in there and moving around. And it seems like when I feed it, the glass gets dark, and then as it gets hotter, it clears up. I don't know, it's not that big of a deal for me. The fan, it's a thermoelectric fan. I really like it, but it just barely fits on there. Between the brass bezel that goes across here, the fan actually hits it, so I kind of have to place it just on the other side of that, and to where it doesn't hit the chimney. These fans are actually designed to sit in the back of the stove at the far end, so it'll blow all the heat. I had it out here for a little bit, and it seemed like a lot of the heat was just rising, and it wasn't doing a whole lot. Back here, it does really circulate the air quite nicely. I had some questions about the thimble going through the wall right there, and that actually came with the pipe kit. This pipe is made for pellet stove. It's 3-inch double wall, and it's everything you would need to install a pellet stove. The thimble is made to go through the wall. It's not made to go through a ceiling. It's not weather protected on the top. As to say, if it was on a roof, you would get water running down in. On a wall, it's perfectly fine, especially if it's under an eave or something. It really doesn't matter. I have the exact kit hooked up to my pellet stove in the house, and I've never had any water come through it, ever. So it's all it is you can see the square right here. Well, there's like a ring of pipe, or it's like sheet metal, and then there's one just like this on the outside, only it's galvanized, that comes in the same way. The ring, these two rings marry up with each other, and then the double wall pipe goes through that and then up to the exhaust, or to the cap. It's not anything fancy. I mean, if you get one, you could figure it out just by looking at it, even without instructions. This bezel, I keep meaning to take it off. As you can see, there's soot right here and some other gunk. I think that's when I was cooking on it. I must have spilled some stuff on there. By the way, if you want to see that video, I'll put a card right here somewhere, so you can go check that out. I did cook on it, and it was awesome. The adapter actually is kind of funny. For whatever reason, the stove is not made for the pipe to be a down drip. As I say, if you get creosote built in here and it runs, it will come out unless your pipe is crunched and goes down in, if it's crimped, so that the creosote can drip back into the burner. Any 3-inch pipe around, well, here in America, the stove is actually from Canada. Any pipe around here I couldn't find to get there, and I was concerned about this. This is actually called an appliance adapter, this little part right here, that actually hooks into the back of a pellet stove, but it fit on here real super tight, and I've never had any creosote run out yet. So I guess it's doing its job there, and I've never had any creosote run out anywhere on any other joints or anything, so I guess that's good. Anyway, the bezel, I keep meaning to take it off there, but I never think about it until it's actually already hot, so I don't want to mess with that. And we're almost at 450 degrees right there. Well, maybe we are right at 450 degrees. So that's pretty cool. Cleaning these things, I don't know if I mentioned that yet. It's somewhat, you have to do it more frequent than you would with a larger stove. And since it's so small, it is a little more difficult. And because of the secondary combustion up top, that makes it a little bit more labor intensive, I guess. And cleaning, it really depends on your situation, how often you use the stove, what kind of wood you're burning, how your draft is set up, what kind of chimney you've got. For me, I would say, just a rough guess, maybe I run this thing 20 hours per week, and I can tell at the end of 2 weeks that it's starting to get sooted up and a little bit of creosote maybe, and it's just not drawing the way I want to, hence the smoke stain up here, the soot on the bezel. So with me, it's every bit of at least every 2 weeks I take it apart and give it a good clean. Not necessarily just the burner, but the pipe. That's pretty much the big thing for me. We can open it here, and you can see that there's no flames licking out, there's no smoke coming out. It's all staying in there really good, and it doesn't even smell like smoke right now, so that's good. Like I said, I just did clean this out a little bit ago, so it's burning pretty good. What's that vibration? Thing's vibrating. The fan didn't come with this, nor did the magnets. Okay, I've already said this before in other videos, but this is called a Cubic Mini wood stove from CubicMini.com. This is a Cub, the smallest one they make. They make one a little bit bigger. It's called a Grizzly, and it's like an inch bigger all the way around. Puts out a little bit more heat because you can get larger pieces of wood in there. Well, this is about the size that I like to burn right there. Maybe it could be a little bit longer, but that's just about it. That's what I use, and it works really good. And once you get a good bed of coals in there, you can pack the thing completely full, and it'll burn for maybe an hour, half, maybe 2 hours. It really depends on what kind of wood you're burning and how you have your draft set and all that good stuff. So yeah, it costs a little under $500 American. Like I said, it comes from Canada. If you look on their website, it's a little over $500. But they have their website has a cool little, you can convert it to dollar, United States dollar right there. So that works out pretty good. That includes shipping. And the shipping, it took quite a while to get here. I'm going to say about a month, or maybe a little over a month to get here. But, you know, that's no big deal. And the hanger, yes, this thing is actually hanging on a wall. The hanger and this heat shield setup right here, that came from Cubic Mini. And that took quite a while to get here, too. But, you know, it's no big deal. I didn't really mind it. There are different accessories that you can get for this. The hanger, or the shroud, the heat shroud here. They have some that have little drawers, and then they have one that has a pipe that you can run outside. It'll come up underneath here, right in there, to put air inside of the secondary combustion, where you can vent it from outside, so you're not pulling a vacuum in your house, because this is drawing air to burn, and it needs air. So any little cracks around your doors or windows or whatever is going to pull, just like any other wood burner. But they actually have a setup to where you can draw straight from the outside to it, so that's kind of a cool thing. Yeah, it's a small wood burner, and it produces a good bit of heat. It's not gonna burn like a big wood furnace, but if you have a small area and a small budget, this is definitely the way to go. So you may have noticed this little measuring cup hanging here. It's on a nail. It is a 1/3 cup. I use this to dig the ashes out, and I put it down in this little camp cook pot right there. And that thing never gets full. Even after running for 5 or 6 hours, it never does get full. So it's that's kind of what I use. They do sell accessories that there's like a little shovel and a little hook, and then a little pair of pinchers. I didn't opt for that, but they look like they would be relatively handy. Yeah, I really like it. I'll put the website in the description if you're interested in this. I'm not affiliated with them. I'm not going to make any money if you decide to go buy one of these. It's their thing. I really like it, and I recommend them to anybody. So, well, that's the update on the Cubic Mini here, and it's still pumping along. So we're right at about 65 degrees Fahrenheit there, and it's about 28 degrees outside today. So it's been running for about 2.5 hours, and it's warmed up quite nicely. I really see no problem with it getting over 70 degrees in here today if I let this thing run for a little while. Okay, so I just fed it, and you see it's just starting to catch again down here. Maybe we can open this here. Yeah, it's burning good. One thing I have noticed about this is where the draft is here. Ashes do tend to build up against that, so you kind of have to scrape it away every now and then. I mean, it works. It's got to get air from somewhere. So That's kind of one thing that you do have to keep in mind, just keeping these holes clear on the inside. But, well, there it is, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you all some other time. Have a good one.